How's it going, everyone? Today I'm going to be doing something a bit different to my normal reviews. I'm going to be making a moss wall, slightly different to how other people do it. I'm sure you've seen many moss walls done with mesh, with moss in between two layers, and then stuck to the back of a tank. Well, today I'm going to be making one with some wood that I found in a local river. It's nice flat bit of wood, and I think it's going to make a lovely moss wall. You're going to need some fishing line to hold the moss on, a screwdriver attachment, a zinc screw, a suction cup, and you're going to want a drill with just a small drill bit to use as a pilot hole. Okay, let's move some of these bits out of the way and let's get started. Okay, first things first, you're going to need to put a suction cup onto the piece of wood so that you can fasten it inside the tank and it's not going to float around. This wood is wet. I've been soaking this wood to prevent it from floating for about a week now. What you need to do is get your drill, put it in the place that you want to fit the suction cup. Let me zoom in a bit just so you can see it. Okay, so you want to drill. The idea of drilling the pilot hole is one, you don't crack the wood, and two, it just makes the screw go in a bit easier. The next thing you want to do is on the suction cup, on the side that actually suctions to the glass, is just get your pilot drill. Just drill a small pilot hole through. Only takes a second, go through nice and easily. Then you want to get your screw, put it into the suction cup, as you can see there. Fits through nicely, and then I'll change a bit over. So you can see the screwdriver bit's now in, and then we will screw that. Go. So now you can see the suction cup is fastened securely onto the wood. I'll zoom out again. This allows you to suction it straight to the side of the tank. Okay, now that's done, it's a case of putting on your moss. What I've got here sitting in my spare tank is a nice selection of moss. You can use any type of moss, depending on the effect you want. I mean, you can get obviously something like flame moss, Xmas moss, you can have willow moss, any type of moss you want. this is actually Xmas moss, and I got this from a friend online via Twitter, but the way to get a nice quantity of moss for a good price, I mean, I got all this moss, which is about 4 nice sized portions, and it cost me a tenner. Some people will do it cheaper, some people are try getting the earth for it, but if you want moss, there's plenty of good forums out there. As soon as you've made a certain number of posts, you can normally see a for sale section where people in the hobby like yourself sell the moss nice and cheap, as well as any other plants you might want. Sometimes buying new plants from the store isn't always the best option, especially for people on a budget. You can get some nice quality plants, even cuttings, for a lot cheaper. Okay, there you go, you can see all the moss there, some nice healthy big bits of moss. The plan is to attach the moss onto the wood any way you like, and you're going to be securing it onto the wood with fishing line. You can use other things. You can use super glue. The gel type super glue would be the best to use, but you have to be so careful, because if you use too much super glue you can get white streaks down the wood that just stay there. Just to give you an idea. And obviously you don't have to do this just for a moss wall. If you've got wood in your tank, you can tie on nice bunches of moss that will grow really well. So I'm going to start tying that on now. Use my bucket as a stand for the time being. As I say, you're going to use fishing line. You can use Rickia line. Some people use cotton. Depending on what wood you're using, you can use the small elastic bands that people use for hair braiding. They're only really small, and they hold the moss on quite well as well. But because of the design of this wood, it's hard for me to try and get an elastic band to hold them on. Hence why I'm using fishing line. Okay, so I've reset things up a little bit here. I've propped the wood up against a large piece of lava rock, just so that I can use a bucket to put the moss in out of the way. What you want to do is get your fishing line, take it round, form a loop first and make a slip knot. Like so. Make sure your moss is sitting on top of the wood. Don't worry about the bit of fishing line that's hanging off. We'll be trimming that off after, and then you just want to be wrapping the fishing line all the way around the moss. It does take time to do this. It's not the fastest job to do in the world, and taking time ensures a good job, as I'm sure most of you know. So you just want to keep wrapping it around the area you've got the moss on. don't be tight with the moss either. Try and use a good quantity of moss. The more moss you've got in there, the quicker you're going to see growth, as you'll have a lot more moss growing, obviously. And then once you've wrapped it round, you're going to want to tie it off. Now this is one bit I haven't perfected. It takes me ages to tie it off. Just thread that through there and we should be okay. There we go, and get a pair of scissors. Trim off the ends. And there you can see the first part of the moss is tied on. Now what you want to do is you want to do as much of the wood as possible. If you've got plenty of moss, just cover the whole lot. Just go right the way across everything. I'm going to fast forward ahead so you can see it with some more moss done. There you go, I've finished tying on all the moss. It's taken about 20 minutes, so it's not been too bad. Let's show you the back. You can see all the line wrapped around the branches there, holding the moss on. There you go. So the next step is to put it in the tank and to show you how it looks. Okay, there's the moss covered wood in the tank. It's securely fastened with the suction cup on the back. There's a couple of small little pieces of moss floating around that didn't stay attached, but that's quite the norm. You're not going to be able to fasten every tiny little piece that you put on there, but all in all it's come out really well. I'm really happy with it. If you can't find a flat piece of wood like this in a local stream or river, then you can always use individual branches. You can fasten them together with cable ties, zinc screws, anything really. Attach your moss, be creative and have fun. That's the most important thing, is it having fun, and that you're not putting anything in there that's going to upset your fish or any other plants. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the review. I've got a few more things planned, and I really appreciate everyone that subscribes and follows me. So thank you very much everyone. Bye.